Welcome to the buymeacoffee.com/James Poeartistry, the coffee tips page that supports my James Poeartistry creative productions and work. See also jamespoeartistry.online.
Hello, Perceptive Readers. This is James Lynch. A good morning to you all. Some of you is already good afternoon. All the same, I want to share something with you quickly today on what has helped me. Through the principles of God's Word, Holy Bible, there are spiritual teachings that come about, and you certainly know that they are backed by the Grand Creator Himself. And so, what is one of those teachings? The teaching happens to be you must, even though I'm going to say you should, but to protect against presumptuousness, you should always verify what thoughts are on your mind or have questions to. One of the principal teachings is you do not just go off anything that you hear from any media outlet or what have you. Let me explain what I mean by that. In other words, you can get basic news of information and events that you know are true. But then when it goes into investigative reporting, editorial opinion type of comments and responses, then those are the areas again that you may find, oh, that's interesting and informative, but at the same time, you don't always make serious, important decisions just based on someone's, as I mentioned, editorial or opinion. And so, with that being said, I'll just give you another example of that in a few moments. See, here is the point. Communication, which is done a lot over all these different platforms, is coming from different places. At times, you don't even know who these persons are who are talking to you. Just like all you know is, for me, I'm James, and you realize that I'm the owner and creator of the Product of Culture website, PocBooks.com. Since 2010, a few years ago, I started again with the name of James Poeartistry Productions, which the domain now is continuing being migrated to jamespoeartistry.online. And you can see my hundreds of podcasts and writings, if not thousands, through different correspondence, even through social media over the years, with different ones. And you can have a nice basic conversation with anybody, yet in order to solidify the trust, it is very wise of you, and I'm serious, if you consider yourself or striving to be a wise person or already is a wise person, you will know that no way in the world should you go hook, line, and sinker to allow some of these different forces to try to program and train your mind solely through the internet. In other words, your internet becomes your only means of really learning from persons you're trying to know more about, being interested in, or what have you. That is not good. That is not wise. And so one of the methods that is used, and this is a fact, is the reason why people become presumptuous is because sometimes, again, I told you, they'll even hear some type of motivational this or that, and they'll feel good about the matter, but it still doesn't mean that that situation or circumstance really applies to them, to do this or to do that. It just applies to other type of scenarios or personalities or people to do this or that. However, you do have persons who actually specialize in trying to formulate your mind in such a way that make you think you should do this or do that. And like I told you, in a presumptuous way. And you know what? And it goes really still against even um, your own knowledge, what you have learned, what your parents have taught you, what you know from the Bible. And so, in other words, it's still just another form of programming. And they try to get you to do it all solely just on your own mind, you see, and realize I told you that's how brainwashing really does happen. So, if you really want to have a deep connection with anything, or person, or organization, whatever other type of institution you're thinking about, you really should take more steps than just, you know, uh, viewing or listening to that person. You should really try to seriously have a two-way type of dialogue going on with them. And see, and I'm just talking in general on a grassroots level. I'm not talking about on those higher up levels where I know it's just literally impossible to talk with these type of persons or what have you. But I'm letting you know for the persons that are on the grassroots levels. I consider myself on the grassroots level, where, we shouldn't have any type of caste system separating us. We shouldn't have some type of hierarchical authority actually separating us from our neighbor, if you will. It's just not something that God meant through his principles to be like. Because if somebody totally takes over or lord over, hijacks our type of access to one another in that way, they can actually, I'm telling you, uh, maneuver our minds one way or the other if the only connection we have is just listening to them talking to us through a megaphone or really internet or what have you. Um, it would be doing some harm to, again, the way that you view people, the way that you view how you truly resolve matters. So some of the most difficult problems that you think are impossible to resolve are not impossible to resolve if you're able to communicate with the right person who has the right information. And in this case, if you even deal with a third party, I'm just telling you the fact of the matter. Over the past decade or so, I'm telling you, you dealt with people, if you have dealt with people that really were claiming to have some type of connection with me. Some of you now know in your meditations, those persons were not right. Some of them. I'm not going to say they didn't love God, but I am going to say uh, they are wrong in so many ways in what they have done. And the only thing that they have left for many of them, it's just the fact that they have some type of authority. And with that authority, they do feel, where some of them, or maybe they're hoping now, that their authority alone would just save them because of the simple fact, I'm not going to fall hook, line, and sinker for all the solid principle training that I have received. And that's one reason why some of these persons should have never even thought an individual like myself would even have ever gone for it in that way. And I'll tell you something else. There are some persons right now, and see, and this is what I mean by the example I told you I was going to give you earlier, that here it is. There was a United States of America major event, major election, where now the former president, which was President Donald Trump, from what 8 years ago. Okay, now is now reelected again. You see, and now he is the 47th president. And you had uh, certain persons seem like to the point of tears because of that, and then you have a lot of people who are elated. And the thing about it is, um, some persons have related of just different, even quotes from what the president of the United States of America has said, even in times past. And the thing about it is, I reference James from the Holy Bible again. If anybody has been offended or what have you by something that he has said, in times past or what have you, remember I told you about the tongue. The Bible talks about the tongue and how it says that nobody can get this tongue under control because, as I mentioned, in listening to some of the people who are talking badly or have talked badly about the president of the United States, once again, even see some of the level of the disrespect that they're showing some of them for the way that they're talking badly and exaggerating and lying at times goes to show that, again, you're showing that you're human, that the Bible is true in that matter too, just as much as you're talking about the way that he expresses himself at times. Just one thing that I will share: if you still look at the policies that really were implemented back 20. Uh, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, roundabout in that area, you will still find that there was a lot of policies that were still implemented that did truly help the economy, truly gave people a lot of breaks and everything, a lot of breaks. And the inflation was, I'm just, okay, let me exaggerate a little bit. And the inflation was 100% less than what it is now. You know what? I may not be even exaggerating because I think it was during those times that even during the interest rates of the markets, wasn't it still less than 1%? Something of that nature. You see what I'm talking about? All of this stuff changed, you see, right during that, I'm still going to say, that fiasco of that medical condition, so to speak, of 2020, roundabout in that area. And I have some statements that, again, some people wouldn't like, but the fact of the matter is, I know what the results were of bad management and bad negligence and things of that nature. I also realized, too, over the past, once again, 4 years, a lot of people still did show even their own very selfishness, attitude, and way of viewing things, and actually doing things and treating people when they really still didn't have to treat them that way. It was like, okay, people listen to you now, but basically, so the whole point is, what happened to the economy? Look at the economy from 2020 until now. Look at the economy before that time period, and you will see still what policies were enacted. And the whole point is, people can have their own personalities or what have you, but as I told you before, you can have your own personalities. You can have your quirks, you can have your spiritual views and things of that nature. But you know what? If you can't do the basic foundational things of just what is right when it counts, then you know what? It's not going to move anybody to like I said, to to believe you anyway. What I'm basically saying is this: you you do have to just leave a person's own personality out of the situation at a lot of times. Why? Because you're still coming from your own way of viewing and even projections. That's if, like I said, you want to live peacefully. That's if you want to live peacefully with others, because real detrimental policies, real things that hurt the economy, then you know what? Then that can be addressed. But don't play around with once again, legitimate policies. Don't play around with people's lives in this way either. So the whole point is, why would you feel like crying and everything else when really it's like, come on, man. You really still do got the Constitution. And that's all I'm going to say. Take care.